All right, let's talk about something huge: women and money. We're going to break down some seriously old-fashioned ideas that have kept so many women from taking control of their finances and, honestly, their lives. We're going to map out a path to real financial independence. It all starts with this jaw-droppingly condescending idea. For generations, this was the attitude. Money? Oh, that's a man's job. Women should be protected from it. But as we're about to see, that so-called protection, it came at an incredibly high price. So let's really dig into this problem, because this pretty little heads mindset isn't just some dusty old phrase from a history book. Oh no. It has created very real, very modern vulnerabilities for women today. I mean, for a long, long time, this was the blueprint, right? The division of labor was crystal clear. He handled the money. She handled, well, everything else. And it was all framed as the natural way of things, just how society worked best. But what happens when that blueprint gets torn to shreds? The fallout is just devastating. Women are left totally in the dark, completely unprepared for huge life changes like a divorce or, becoming a widow. Let's be real, this was never about protection. It was about forced dependency. The source material doesn't mince words, it was just another way of keeping women in their place. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a big one. But how do we actually fix it? Let's talk about the solution, about how we can go from feeling that fear and anxiety to having real, genuine confidence. And here's the secret. Managing money isn't some special gene you're born with, it's a skill you can learn. And look, this is so important to get. If you feel that little knot in your stomach when someone starts talking about finance, you are absolutely not alone. But that fear, it usually just comes from not being familiar with the subject. It's new territory, and just like learning anything new, you just have to start. Which brings us to this huge, pervasive myth. I mean, we've all heard it in some form, right? This idea that men are just, wired differently, that they're naturally better with numbers and money. But is that actually true? Not even close. In fact, the source points to something fascinating. Early on, in grade school and junior high, girls are very often ahead of boys in math. So what does that tell you? It tells you that any gap that shows up later is because of social conditioning, not because of some innate ability. The talent is there from day one. So it's all about reclaiming that natural ability. And guess what? There are so many tools out there to help you do it. You can take a class, you can read some books, you can even get a group of friends together and learn as a team. The resources are everywhere, and a lot of them are cheap or even free through colleges and nonprofits. Because at the end of the day, it really is this simple. In your financial life, just like everywhere else, knowledge is power. It's the power to call your own shots, to keep yourself safe, and to build the exact life you want. But look, knowing the practical stuff, that's only half the battle. The source material makes a really compelling case that the most important work isn't done with a calculator or a spreadsheet. It's done on the inside, in your mind. The author basically breaks it down into two totally different ways of seeing the world. On one hand, you've got poverty consciousness. That's the deep down belief that you don't really deserve to have more, that struggling is just normal. And then, on the other hand, you have prosperity consciousness, the belief that there's plenty to go around, and this is the key part, that you are worthy of it. And what makes this so real is that the author shares her own story. She calls herself a depression baby. She grew up with nothing. No hot water, cooking on a wood stove. She worked these really tough menial jobs because her inner world, her belief system, told her that's all she was worth. It's a really powerful example of how our mindset literally creates our reality. So how in the world did she break out of that? She used this affirmation. She repeated it over and over, consciously reprogramming her own brain until her core beliefs actually started to change. Okay, so let's bring this all home. Let's talk about your prosperity toolkit. We're gonna look at 3 concrete things you can start doing like today to start building that prosperity consciousness for yourself. But before we jump into the how-to, I want you to just pause for a second and ask yourself this. Really think about it. What were the messages you got about money when you were a kid? Because you have to understand that old programming before you can start to rewrite it. So, action number 1, make it conscious. Get out a piece of paper and write down every single thing you can remember hearing about money growing up. Then,
take a hard look at how you treat money today. Do you kind of crumple it up in your wallet like it's dirty, or do you treat it with respect? Do you complain about not having enough, or do you feel grateful for what you have? This is about figuring out your true, deep-down relationship with money.
All right, now this next one is a game changer. It's this concept of tithing to yourself. And no, this isn't about paying your bills. This is the radical idea of paying yourself first. The source calls this a profound act of self-love. It's like you're physically telling the universe, hey, I'm worthy, I deserve this, I'm ready to receive.
And here's the how-to. It's actually super simple. Before you pay anyone else, you take 10% right off the top of any money that comes in. You put it in a separate account, one that you don't touch for everyday stuff. And the most important part, you start right now, even if it's just $1. It's the act itself that sends the message.
Now, according to the author, this one little habit has an almost magical effect. By showing yourself and the universe that you value yourself enough to pay yourself first, you become what she calls a money magnet. You start attracting more good things into your life. And this tackles a huge psychological hurdle for so many of us: guilt. That weird feeling we get when things start going well. This idea reframes everything. The money that comes to you isn't just luck. It's the physical result of the mental work you've already put in. You've earned it in your mind first. Which brings us to our third and final action. It's incredibly simple, but so powerful. Every single time money comes to you, your paycheck, a birthday gift, even finding $5 in an old coat pocket, use it as a trigger to reinforce your new belief. Just repeat this to yourself. I've already earned it, I deserve it. It might feel a little weird at first, but this simple phrase is the perfect antidote to a lifetime of being told not to worry our pretty little heads about money. It's a declaration that you are worthy, and that right there is the foundation of true financial power. Just think, what would change for you if you really, truly believed that?